Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast bud.
What's up, gang? Welcome back to another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day, and we're going to talk about focus over your feelings. Your focus over your feelings. Shout out to Ms. Tiffany Danielle, who messaged us on Instagram. So shout out to you for having questions and giving us something that we could do to add value to your life and hopefully a bunch of other listeners. So, let's take these in steps. So I would say to try to make non-emotional decisions, which we've all done before. So I'm not talking from some place on this high mountain or high horse. We're going to talk as an individual that's, I'm going to naturally by nature, I was just talking to some of our up and coming salespeople. Naturally by nature, I'm an emotional creature. Coming up as a young person, I was just always passionate, super passionate and emotional. And I had a friend of mine say, the good thing about being passionate or being emotional is that once you learn how to control it, the people that are emotional, those are the ones that create emotion in others. And the people that are the most passionate like that, and they're the ones that can create that type of passion in other people. And then it becomes like a positive and a superpower once you learn how to control it. Until then, sometimes it can hurt you. So this is coming from a place of an imperfect person, speaking off of lessons that I've learned, and we're all still growing in this together, right? So, but the first thing I would say is just like learn to pause before reacting. You ever hear the term to respond, don't react? A lot of the times the tough decisions that we make, the bad decisions that we make that we wish that we could take back are the things that we say quickly, the things that we do quickly in not allowing ourselves to process everything and then go ahead and respond. In the exact opposite, we're not processing everything and we're just reacting. And really it takes time to process your feelings before making a decision. So if you start making decisions quickly while your emotions are high, I had some folks in our business, coined the phrase, and, I'm sure everything we do is stolen. I don't know where they got this from, but I've stolen it from them. Shout out to Britton and Maddie D. Is when emotions are high, intelligence gets low, right? So when emotions are high, intelligence gets low. And so we got to just take time to not rush through that decision while we're emotional, because making a decision is where we need to use our brain. We got to think, and they said intelligence is low when you're emotional, right? So second thing is, knowing that emotions are temporary, reminding ourselves to not make decisions on impulse and try to set our feelings to the side, because these emotions that we're having is just a temporary emotion. I think a lot of this stuff is just knowing thyself, getting to know yourself. There was an old, I think a Chinese proverb that I saw that said, where there's no enemy within, the enemy out there could do us no harm. And so that's like if there's no enemy within you, the people out there, the enemies out there could do us no harm. And then I've learned over the years, I used to think it was just about you as a person. It's also about the people that you keep close to you in your business or in your personal life. If there's no enemy within, the enemy out there could do us no harm. And so just know when you're getting to just know yourself better, I think self-awareness is like, hey, I know how I am. So I'm going to make a rule that I'm not going to snap back. I'm not going to make emotional decisions. I'm not going to make impulsive decisions. The rule is I'm going to give it 24 hours. Don't make a decision or say things on impulse that are important. Maybe give yourself 24 hours. That one's been good for me as a leader even, as I know some people that haven't yet mastered this that we're talking about. When I know they're emotional and their intelligence is low, instead of me responding to them right now, I don't answer them. I don't talk about it. Give it a day, give it a couple of days for their emotions to get down, because I'm an emotional creature myself, and that's part of me helping myself and them at the same time. Third thing is we got to think long term. How will this decision that you're about to make sense to you in a week, or make sense to you in a month, or make sense to you in 1 year? Will your decision make sense in 1 week? Will you be like, yeah, man, that was a good decision a year from today, or 5 years from today, or a month from today? Starting to process your decision making that way on, hey, how am I going to feel about this a month from today? How am I going to feel about this a year from today? Even in the hard decisions that you got to make, not necessarily bad decisions, but the good decisions that you got to make, because sometimes the good decisions that you need to make are not the feel-good decision that you want to make right now, because it's easier to stay in this relationship than to confront that this ain't going nowhere. A year from today, I'm going to be worse off and waste a whole year of my life, versus saying, hey, we need to part ways on good terms right now. That ain't easy. It's easier to kick the can, down the road. So those good decisions you need to make sometimes are tough decisions, because you don't want to make them because it makes everything difficult in the beginning. It makes everything difficult for the next month, but it makes it a lot easier a year from today. And then on the flip side, you got the things that make it difficult a year from today, but they're easy for you to make right now, and they're not the best decision, for you. So I think really just looking at the long term, 1 year, 5 years, 2 years, how is this going to play out? How is this going to help me, over the course of that time? And then using, the next one would be using logic and reason. That, focus on the facts. What are the facts right now? And forget about your feelings. Use logic. What are the facts of this situation? What are we talking about? Let's not worry about how I'm feeling. Let's not worry about your ego or what it made you feel, or good or bad or positive or emotional, or I'm going to be just logically, what is the best decision that we can make? Next one would be, thinking about seeking an outside perspective of somebody that has wisdom. Maybe consulting a mentor, or a trusted friend that has good advice or good wisdom, a colleague. Sometimes outside perspectives might see something that you're overlooking. And then just remember, there's always an exception to the rule, right? I before E except after C. There's always an exception to the rule, right? So the rule, I would say, is try not to get a ton of advice from people that you wouldn't trade places with in that area of their life. However, there are times where you can learn from people, in that situation. Let's say they blew it in one area and they're teaching you how to not blow it. They wish their relationships were different and they're trying to teach you. And so that's an exception. But I think for the majority of the time, try to take advice from people in that area of life. People that got done well with their money. Let's talk to them about money. Let's not talk to people that don't got any. People that have had success in their marriages. Let's talk to them about advice versus the people that haven't. Whatever it is, seeking out those maybe most of the time that are in a position that you would like to be in that area of your life. But I think definitely getting advice from the right outside people can help you make good decisions. Next one, I would say control the things that you can control. Typically the things you can control is your effort, what you're going to do with your actions and your attitude. And I don't know if there's anything that's more of a waste of energy that is stressful than when we try to get all upset and we allow ourselves to get all upset over things that are out of our control. Control the things that you can control. Think about how are your feelings impacting your attitude right now? What actions align with your goals that we were talking about of where you want to be 5 years from today, 3 years from today? What actions are aligning with those goals? And control the things that you can control. next one I would say, another underestimated, this is just breathing. Breathing and reflecting, under stressful situations, because you don't want to make these decisions when you're all worked up. So how do I keep myself at a calm? Getting in touch with your breath, whether it's breathing techniques, meditation. But calmness, typically, cooler heads prevail. Calmness prevents regret, right? So let's breathe and let's reflect. Next thing would be, don't let fear drive you. So when you're making these decisions, a lot of times we make fear-based decisions. And fear-based decisions equal typically missed opportunities or even unnecessary risks because you're scared. So let's make sure we're not being driven by fear. Fear is natural. Sometimes if it's used the right way, it can protect you. But if you don't channel it, you'll miss a lot of opportunities out of fear, or you'll make stupid mistakes and take unnecessary risks out of fear. Okay. Next one is we talked about know thyself. Know your triggers. Be self-aware of your patterns, behaviors, what makes you react a certain way. And if there's a certain way that you don't want to react, can you put some fail-safe things in there? Because you got to know what triggers you. If we're talking about getting emotional, what things trigger you? What areas? Is it not having enough sleep? Is it being around this type of person? Is it what you're eating? Is it not exercising? What are the things that just they just tick you off? They get you going. And just try to be self-aware of some of those things that make you tick, so you know when it's time to get out of that scenario. Like some people, you ever meet people that on alcohol, some people, they drink alcohol and they're fine. Some people get happy and they're nice. Some people, you ever see the people that drink alcohol and they turn into like an animal? Like the Incredible Hulk? Like what happened to you? Like why are you acting like that? Tear your shirt off and freaking running down the street, running through doors, you know what I mean? Like what people that they just get wild on alcohol. It just does different things to different people. So you got to know, man, is alcohol one of your triggers? Are you fighting saying, no, that ain't it. But you look at the last 5 bad decisions you made or bad arguments you've been in, and 4 out of 5 of them had alcohol with it. Just know what are your triggers and try to be aware of those, and that sometimes helps. Next one would be stay true to your values. Kind of just, hey man, I place a high value on this. This is the way. These are the values of my life. And then let those values and principles guide you, and always asking yourself, does that decision align with what it is that I value? Let that be like your North Star. Next one would be embracing discomfort. Growth and making tough decisions, they're going to make you uncomfortable. And growth comes from typically patience, not impulsive reactions. So if you want to grow, we got to stop having impulsive reactions, and we got to get into this patient state to where we're patient with things, and we breathe and we think, and that's where the growth is at. But that's uncomfortable, especially if you're an emotional person. It's like my first tendency is to react, right? So another one would be, seek when you're making these decisions and when you're getting better emotionally to make progress and not put so much pressure on yourself to be perfect. Like progress over perfection. You may not be perfect at it in the beginning. Make small, thought out, rational steps that are going to lead you to, the long-term success that you want to have. And the last one that I'll mention would be just mastering your mindset. The EQ, your emotional control is a skill that strengthens with more reps. you ever hear the term, it takes a bigger man to walk away? It's easy to get yourself all worked up and start arguing and start fighting and all that stuff. But to have emotional control is real strength. That is a skill over time that you'll be thankful that you taught and learned yourself, because with practice and reps at it, you can get good at it. And everything starts with your mind and your thoughts, right? Because those actions end up having a certain reaction, and your quick reaction, typically comes with the habits that you create, and the habits that you create come from those actions. But the actions really they come from a thought. What are you thinking? And so we got to master our mindset of, let me breathe, let me calm down when I'm all worked up, let me make rational decisions, let me try to get control of myself emotionally, and you'll continue to strengthen that muscle and be proud of the wisdom that you operate with and the maturity that you operate and flow with as you keep on working and progressing, at this. So, shout out to everybody on the grind and still working on stuff. And reminder, hey, we're willing to do messages or break down certain things on this podcast. If there's a way that we can help you in your life, let us know. Shoot us a message. Let us know. We'll try to tailor fit something for you and see how we can fulfill our mission, because our mission is just how can we add value and make an impact in people's lives that choose to invest, the last 17 minutes with us. So we're grateful for that. As always, we appreciate you joining us on another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day.